There we go. I had to change the recording style. Apparently, whatever happened in this latest update made it so. Oh, that's neat. Made it so that you couldn't record with whatever their newest material is. Okay.
Wait, so did you say you got it figured out or you didn't?
Yep, it's going. You want to speak about your work?
Yeah, so at work today,
Alright. So, Jimmy, you want to tell us? So, Jimmy,
yeah.
Benny Best's
Am I
journey's
gonna
going
recap?
on. Just, I want you to recap it, but just as a reminder, I guess, on date time kind of stuff. You looked at the adventure logs, I guess, but the rest of the group is still off in the future, kind of dealing with their stuff, and you are in late October.
Okay.
So, anyways, can you tell us?
Get a little chilly.
Yeah, and you're in Crimea, so,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the weather's that bad there at this point in time, but, do you want to,
You want me to give it up? Recap?
Yep, recap us.
Alright. So, Betty's been doing a road trip, finding himself, I guess. First stop was, so after getting his heart broken in Latveria, proceeded downwards to Greece, did some exploring of the ruins there, eventually did a tourist trip to Mount Olympus, where he discovered the city of the Eternals. Called Olympia? Yeah. Which he shouldn't have been able to find, but is somehow able to enter and then receive the assistance of the Eternals. Asked a lot of questions, learned a lot of lessons, and was having a great time until Thanos appeared and had this incredibly destructive fight, during which Betty was able to get some souvenirs and escape with his life, and then he hit the road again. After hitting the road, I didn't realize how much we did last session, by the way, because we covered a lot of ground.
We did. That's what happens when you spend most of the time talking and very little of the time fighting.
Sure. Yeah, no turn-based combat, really.
Yeah.
And then, so then we went into making our way across the seas to India.
Well, you had to go on the run because after your fake ID was discovered after you found out that you had ditched Demetrius and they had called in a search and rescue party on you because you were gone for 48 hours, almost 36 hours, I think. Was it?
Yeah.
Or so?
Yeah. But it didn't become a big deal. I talked him off of it. But my friendship with Dimitri was probably severely hurt. Because I told him that I had just ditched him and walked back without telling him.
And met up with girl to go hang out with him in the nearby town.
Yeah.
And just chose not to contact him for 36 hours.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So anyways, but we did end up trying to hitchhike my way through.
I think you ran with your superhuman abilities and regeneration. At least that's what I have, because you had to escape the country because Hungarian, they were trying to...
smuggler boat.
Yeah.
The smuggler boat hooked up refugees, and I have now, through tumults of events, become a Soviet citizen.
Well, they've accepted you as a refugee.
All right. A question, because it will be important later. Did I show them my passport? Did they accept me without a passport because I was in a boat full of refugees?
They accepted you without a passport because you were a refugee, presumably.
Got it.
And you swore allegiance to the Soviet state, like everybody else.
Yeah.
And there was a superhero who scooped you out of the water, right, when you tried to run?
No.
No,
somebody
you
else
didn't
tried to
try.
run.
You didn't try to run. Somebody else did, and they scooped him out of the water.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
I think it was the ship captain, as I recall.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, here you are. You're in the Soviet Union. Just to recap for everybody, the Soviet Union nearly collapsed. It lasted a lot longer than it did in the real world, mostly so we could do some fun Soviet-style events back in the day. Then it nearly collapsed with the Central Asian republics declaring independence. Probably realistically very unrealistic. In the real world, they were probably they were like one of the last places to declare independence, but whatever. Anyways, that's how it went down here, and then Germany got reunited in the 2000s, and there was a big shakeup, and it looked like the Soviet Union was opening up. There were reformers and Western style reforms coming in. There was much more openness and trading, and a dramatic thaw in relations that happened really abruptly. And some people were even predicting the total fall of the Soviet Union. And then the man who Speed would remember as the anarchist, he was an anarcho. Well, he was an anarchist, really, is what he was. He was anti-state, anti-government kind of person who believed that any of those structures were just forms of oppression. And he worked to destroy the fragile new republics or quasi-republic dictatorships that were forming in the Central Asian states. And the Western heroes intervened, flying or teleporting into those places, and that supposedly seemed to be an attempt to prop up anti-Soviet governments by the West. And when they failed, quite badly too, murdering the flag smasher on public video by dumping molten metal on top of him. Remember that?
Was this a PC session?
Huh?
Was this a PC session?
Yeah. We played through all this. This was a while back.
Oh.
So when this all happened, and they failed quite dramatically, they fled. A few months later on, the Soviets took a much more active hand into it, led by a new hero, Soviet hero, as they called him, named the Red Sun, spelled S-U-N, who is a superpowered, an enormously powered superhuman, capable of seemingly anything. And he led an armed reconquest, of one or two of the Central Asian republics, and the rest of them voluntarily, with air quotes around that, rejoined the Soviet Union as they had militarized their metahuman population. This was all ongoing as in the United States they were dealing with the Superhuman Registration Act, and that was our Cincinnati game. And those conflicts continued to a Soviet invasion of Afghanistan a second time that has put in place a fragile communist government. And, for example, Forrest got kidnapped and put into a gulag. Ever since then, the Soviet Union has, ever since those big political moves, the Soviet Union has really doubled down and re-insulated itself, become becoming isolated again into its block of countries, though relations seem to have dramatically improved with places in Eastern Asia, like China, for example. And the conflict has gotten intense again, or between East and West has gotten intense again. Most recently, and this Soviet Union is still propagandizing its style of government and its belief of workers' rule, as they say.
By the way, can you send over some music?
Oh yeah. And then
do we have to learn Marxist doctrine? Are they still big on that?
Yeah, it's Marxist Leninism. Leninist?
Yeah.
Leninist?
Marxist Leninism, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so the most recent news coming out of there is a sort of conflict in like, as in similar to the real world itself, sort of a conflict and what seemed to have been briefly a armed uprising or rebellion, is what Western media was calling it. In the Soviet Union, they would have called it a domestic disturbance. Has cropped up in Ukraine. It is that's where we're at, and this, and also with all the conflicts going on in the Middle East, with the United States invasion of Iraq and the creation of the ISIS and other powers, and the Syrian problems, and the Arab Spring. There's still ongoing refugees, and a number of them have chosen to flee to the Soviet Union, which is operating at a level pretty similar to the late stage Soviet Union, before its total before its pretty bad economic collapse in the late 80s into the 90s.
And by the way, one thing that I definitely want to stay away from for this session, I do not want to go to Ukraine. I have at my company right now, I have coworkers that are like in Kiev, so it'll just be a huge bummer to dwell on that kind of stuff. So luckily we're far-ish away, making our way east.
Alright, let's see. I'm looking for something that would be like appropriate, but I'm not really finding anything at the moment. You know what? Let's try this one. Kind of like that. Alright, but you're in, you've been landed in Sevastopol, and you are moving. You've been directed to fill out information at the local government affairs office, government office, and you're let off the boat. Benny?
Yeah. Amazing. Do they have housing for us? Is there a place we're supposed to go?
Any questions that you ask? Wait, what languages do you know?
I spent the karma. I speak Russian now.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you ask that question, they direct you to speak to the people at the city hall.
Okay. Got it. And everybody else is going that way also?
Yeah. There seems to be some police officers kind of guiding the way. But they are not particularly watchful.
Yeah.
So they are wearing their blue coats with their red banded hats and shoulder pads. It's still October, so they're not wearing the fur coats.
Sure.
What you see as you walk through the city is a bit unusual. The place seems to be quite uniform, and the structure. There are a number of like tall apartment buildings in this area with slogans on top of it that read like friends work for the betterment of our society and so on such things.
Yeah.
You clearly you pass by one of those worker statues with the guy like hammering.
Sure.
As that is like at the center of the government offices pavilion area, or not pavilion, mall where everything's at.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the structures nearby is where you're being directed to go into. It's a domed city hall looking building, quite familiar to you.
Yeah, I think Betty is full complying. I think this is more interesting than him, and at the moment he doesn't feel quite endangered.
Okay.
By the way, there's a small detail that we're gonna have to workshop, but I'm pretty sure the giant microwave gun that he managed to salvage is like buried somewhere in Greece.
Okay.
Because I don't think it makes it over the border with him, do you?
Yeah, I mean, he did take that microwave gun from the dude who tried to, one of Thanos' soldiers, right?
Yeah, but I don't think it had like a compressible thing. The
It
wrist
did not.
blasters, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's up to you. I mean, if you want to try to sneak it in on the boat, I mean, I don't think it wouldn't make a lot of sense for you to make it in.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know what I might actually do with it? Then this is a retcon, but I might ship it to the Greek fire hero.
It's not like you really know who she is, so.
No, but I knew what building she was hiding out at.
That's true.
So, not that it goes into the mail, but anyways.
All right. You go inside, and a uniformed office worker, dressed exactly like everybody else in the building, kind of is processing paperwork. One of the Arabic men standing in front of you turns back and speaks to you in Arabic. Do you speak Arabic?
No, I don't. I speak back to him in Russian, in Greek and Russian.
And he says a few more words to you, but it doesn't seem like you guys are understanding each other. So he turns back, and you continue to wait in line for a little bit, and they come through, and the woman at the desk speaks to you, and she says,
Name? Her name is. What's it say on my shield passport? We forgot. I think it was Franklin, right?
Are you gonna use the shield passport?
Well, I can. See, this is the problem. I can use my real name, and that's gonna cause me a lot of problems back home. I could use my fake shield name and maybe get gulagged right away. Or I could use a fake name, but I won't have any documentation to back it up. I guess it's fine, I'm a refugee. Ernest.
The person looks up at you and kind of squints as you tell them your name, and they say, "And last name?"
Bye. Gooden. Ernest Gooden.
Country fleeing from? Everybody else is like standing there, like Syria, Tunisia, Libya.
Wait. Hang on. Could I just like ask to be let through? Could I be granted a visitor's visa? Is that like a thing that I could do if I just used my real name and be like visiting?
Latveria. You're fleeing Latveria.
Honestly, yeah, Latveria is a good one.
That would almost make sense. No.
And I will. I'll say Latveria.
They look up at you, look you up and down, and writes it down, and then they come through and they work on they're like, take a seat, we'll have some documents for you in a moment.
Okay.
But no, this is you can't just come into the Soviet Union. You'd have to plan it out in advance and be on one of their official tour guides.
I'd have to have a bunch of visa paperwork filled out like months in advance with like a bunch of signatories. Yeah.
And you'd have to go exactly where they say, especially if you're from some of the countries that they are concerned about. Like if you look up one of those maps in the United States, there were whole sections of the country where a Soviet citizen was not allowed to visit.
Yeah.
Like all of the Great Lakes. Everywhere that touched the Great Lakes, they were not allowed to come to.
Is that because they'll go to Canada and they'll lose track of them?
No,
because it's probably because of the communities. There's like tons of Ukrainian and Russian communities in the area.
That's true too. That probably had a lot to do with it, but I think a lot of it had to do with manufacturing and industrial sabotage.
Right.
Oh, like the U.S. doesn't let them go there.
Yeah.
Not Russia says stay away.
So I mean, like the U.S. visiting Soviet Union would be like visiting North Korea. You know.
Yeah.
Like if you're Scottie Pippen, right? You'll probably be okay.
So, anyways.
And you're Ernest Gooden, right?
Mm-hmm. But my name has been expunged from the Latvian records.
So they come out and they hand you some papers. One's like a temporary identification, and they want you to check in with an office, and they direct you to where you can get every month while you're here.
Mm-hmm.
And they want you to kind of, when you in the next week or so, decide how long you think or if you intend to stay, basically. And then as you're getting this paperwork, two men come up to you. One of them is dressed in like a light, like a greenish gray, like a what color do they call that? Like a greenish yellow, foresty kind of green uniform, and the one next to him seems to be wearing another similar colored uniform, but has the left side of his body made out of like cybernetic implants. And the human, the entirety human one says, Mr. Gooden, can you come with us?
Yes, of course, I say in fluent Russian.
And they walk you over and take you into a back room where they sit you down and they say, if you'll cooperate with us, sir, this will be over quite quickly. We just have a couple questions for you. And they say, have you ever been in the employment of the King of Latveria, King Dr. Victor von Doom?
No, it was to escape employment that I ran to escape the King Doom. Sorry, I'm still learning how to correct myself. I mean Victor Doom.
They look at each other, and one guy leans in, the robot leans in and says a couple words into the other person's face, and he turns back to you, and with a very serious and stoic look, and says, "Sir, how was your, how did you end up on a refugee boat in the Black Sea?"
Well, I tell them like my path, right? I say I escaped, but could not go through Transylvania. Escaped into a war zone because there's a civil war. Made my way down to Greece, but I had no passport. I was smuggling to get somewhere, like just out of there, and then it turned out the smuggler was a refugee trafficker. I thought I would be sold into slavery.
He looks at the other guy, and the other guy leans in, and they look at you, and they nod, and they say, could you give us your hand, please?
Yes. I should tell you, by the way, there's a particular reason why I had to...
As you're saying this, like the robot guy's hand is a normal hand, you put it on his hand, and then his robot hand comes on top of you, and you can feel like things like brushing on from the palm of his hand across yours. And then he looks back and he nods at the other guy, and
it's like I've begun manifesting some strange powers. I don't understand it, but they were going to force me into the army.
They look at each other and they go, well, sir, if you have any superhuman, if you have any special talents, you can. You'll be requested to report those when you continue on your forms. For now, we've got everything we want, and we'll ask that you see yourself out.
Okay. Did I get the sense that he took my fingerprints?
No. You had something like rubbing up, like when he put his metal hand on top of you, you felt like little. Like, you know those, like the tops of an anemone sort of feeling, like if it didn't like venom you, but that's where you feel like a weird like squiggly feeling rub across the back of your hand.
Did I feel like an injection? Like, did they bug me?
No.
Put a tracker in me?
No. You can make a reason roll though.
All right. Can I also make an appearance check and spend karma for how much I sold this incredibly ridiculous story?
Well, the part one where you told all the truth was pretty good. So.
10 out of 10 would take the truth again.
1D100. Okay, so that's my reason, and I think that's a green. I only have a good reason.
Yeah,
though,
on good,
but
that would be a
there's-
green.
Yeah.
So you're not sure exactly what they did, but you didn't. When you're looking at it, you're pretty sure they didn't inject you with anything, and they didn't like take any blood or tissue samples.
Yeah. I got a yellow on my appearance check, by the way, for how good I was at lying.
Yeah, as you make your way out, you for a second you see one of a different agent walk out behind you, and you're like, he's gonna tail me, and then he goes off to a coffee shop nearby and gets a cup of coffee.
That's okay. I'm not doing anything. I still don't have any money, right?
No, yeah, you don't have any money.
So, if they don't have it given me a place to stay or a place to eat, I guess I'm just gonna get in the next line.
Yeah, so you make your way over to where the next location that they told you to. You know, walking through the many tall blocks, there's like a whistle that is blown, and then it looks like a bunch of factories let people out, and they're all wearing like the same matching overalls, and they're like just kind of chatting with each other, carrying their lunch boxes and stuff. It's that kind of old-fashioned kind of appearance. The cars seem to be pretty modern style, what you see, but none of the brands that you recognize. A lot of people walking from place to place. And you notice that there is, in the time that you've been here, you've noticed 2 trains pull, and you've been here a couple hours now. You notice 2 trains pull into the train station, take on a ton of people, and then drive away.
Sure.
At a high speed. Not like a bullet train fast, but 125 plus miles per hour.
Yeah. I would say, I mean, what happened to everybody I was on the boat with? Are they still around?
Nobody else seemed to have got pulled into private questioning.
Okay, but then I got released, right?
Yep,
So,
they let you out.
yeah. So where did the rest of the other refugees go?
There's another building on the other side of the mall.
Mm-hmm. But I have to go somewhere else, in particular.
No. So you have 2. So right. You have a couple options here. You could go in to the other building where they want you to check in on everything. They gave you your documentation. So the next building would be, we're gonna say it was an aid office they directed you to, and then you could go to the final building where you can tell them how long you intend to stay, and it's like a citizenship sort of building if you want to become a Soviet citizen or begin the process.
Got it. Okay, so I'll follow their instructions and go to Citadel 5, Building 5.
Okay.
By the way, I rolled a yellow in my appearance check.
Yep, I took that into consideration.
Which makes me think that I'm doing a convincing Latvian accent.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You can speak.
Yeah.
You can speak. What language do they speak there? Hungarian?
English, yeah.
No, they don't speak English there. Well, I mean, most people know English, but
Yeah. No, but I'm speaking Russian with a
Latvian
with a,
accent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I go to report my superpowers to the appropriate authority.
Okay. Well, you go to the. Do you want to go to the aid office first? Then. We'll say.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I need to.
Well, you go there and they assign you a location in an apartment building, or uh, here temporarily.
Yeah.
You could stay here for 1 month, um, and then you can either they'll have a boat to take people back if they want to, or a lot of people
Yeah.
you probably assume will flee into the country, or you could go declare your citizenship. Um, that's citizenship is pretty vague. So and nobody will really check up on it after this. So if you stay here, basically you'll there's no real practical application of being a citizen. So other than that, you
Right.
won't be asked to leave. But
Right.
if you leave Sevastopol, then you'll be a citizen. Either way, so.
Okay. So I could just try to make a break for it.
Yeah, I mean they're presumably watching you right now, but mostly uh, it's to make sure you're not a foreign spy smuggled in with refugees.
That would be ridiculous. It was only ever that one time. This time I am a spy, but just not for any government. Yeah, go in line to fill my paperwork out.
Okay, boom, boom. They give you temporary housing. They give you all that. They say, they direct you over to the citizenship office for refugees if you want to do that, or you can stay here and they'll send you back to your country of origin, which is Turkey. Turkey this time.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
you could hop on a train. I mean, at this, I sneak onto a train. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Well, I mean, I think Benny's a little curious now. He doesn't want any trouble. So I definitely have to go to the office to report my superpowers, right?
Okay. So you go in there. They question you again. We're going to stick with your previous role. It was good. So they find no holes in your story. They submit you to a lie detector test,
Yeah.
asking you if you're an agent of a foreign power. You say no.
I am not.
And they they give you a laminated card that'll let you leave the locked in area and say, "Welcome, brother."
Nice. Okay. And I specifically tell them that I was able to escape Liberia because of this new mutation that I manifested.
Yeah, and so when you say that, they direct you to a bureaucrat. You can tell it's quite bureaucratic here. They direct you across town to an office of employment for meta human potential, and and they say, they say that you are required having that once they mark that down under your record, you're required to go there.
Yeah. Just gonna be a whole day of filling out forms.
Yeah, well, this is like that was the whole first day. Second day was the citizenship day. Now you're on day 3. A lot of line waiting.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing goes too terribly fast. And you make your way across town again, go into another office where you are, but this one is different than the other ones. There seems to be only a single person in line in front of you, and you wait for just a moment or two, and you are brought up, and they say, They say. Comrade Gooden, what is your what brings you here today? And they're like flipping through some paperwork. They have actual papers. They have computers too that are like got a modern desktop screen, but they seem to have a number of their things done with papers. They have a calculator in front of them too. This seems to be the stereotypical setup for every desk that you've seen, and they say, yeah, Comrade Gooden, what brings you here today? Are you in?
You see, I had in my journeys to find myself at home in Russia, to escape myself as a former subject of Liberia, I have begun manifesting strange abilities, and have been instructed to inform this to the proper authorities.
Hearing that, they go like one moment, and they pull up some paperwork, looking through it, and then they say, yes, we've seen where you've done this. We'll have an examination. Could you fill out this form and tell us what your abilities seem to be?
Yes. Keep in mind, please, they're extremely new, and I still am unaware of what the complete potential is.
We understand. We'll test them fully, sir. Or, comrade. No, sirs.
Yes.
No, various positioning.
I'm gonna, as a extra thing, I'm gonna leave off the telepathy. I don't know whether. Do I have a sense? Superhero trivia would tell me how thoroughly can they test my powers? Because normally you can't do it from like a blood sample, right?
Yeah, no, you wouldn't really know. If a blood sample would tell you whether they have a mutant gene or not.
Yeah, they'll know that I'm a mutant, that I have mutant powers, but they won't know that I have doubled up powers. So I just put super strength, and because I think I have just about super strength, right?
What's your strength rating?
Fantastic, 35.
Yeah, so you can lift 5 tons over your head.
Yeah.
That seems super to me.
Yeah, super strength and a healing regeneration.
Okay.
Reflexes, etc. But yeah.
Okay. So you depart, and it's 2 days later when you're brought back for testing. As you come into the office.
By the way, there is one thing I want to do in the interim. If I'm going to be here for 2 whole days with nothing to do.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want in Sevastopol.
And next time, like, the factory let out, I just want to be, like, at a coffee shop or something, like in a park. And I want to just skim the surface thoughts to see how people are feeling here. Whether they're, like, super depressed or normal or whatever.
Okay, yeah, if you're looking for the play, like, so most of the employment here seems to be at the docks as shipping related business. But there are a number of factories in that area too. So you go over there and scan them as they're leaving the factory, and the thoughts are sort of like, God, my back's killing me. Somebody else is like, man, I'm so hungry. I should have brought more for lunch. The other one's like, the foreman, he's a horrible guy. Why does he go on like this forever? And they're like, how did he get that position? And then another one's like, we have a party meeting tonight. I suppose I have to go.
Too much. Shut off my brain. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, as you are doing that, however, you notice that somebody is coming by, and they are there's two-man crew that comes by, and the first person is a like a truck driver with like a bed of like rebar, and the second person is driving a cement mixer truck. And they come up and they're like speaking to each other. They're like, "Is this where the building is?" And then they're like, "What is the specifications?" And they talk to each other about it. And then the man's like, "Okay, let's get this done so I can get home. It's already late. We're behind schedule." And as he says that, the first man, the man in the cement mixer steps out, and he waves his hand, and the cement flows out and through the air, and then like paves the bottom of the building.
Sure.
The grassy field. And then the next person comes up and raises their hand and gestures, and the rebar buries itself in. And they go like that, and then the cement hardens, and then they drop more, and they build up a building within an hour.
Sure. Wow.
Is it daytime or nighttime?
By the time they're done, it's getting into the evening.
Gotcha.
So you go to this place, and they bring you in, and they said, "It is, comrades, it's time for your test. Please take your seat." And one woman walks in. She's wearing like a heavy coat. Seems like she's pretty cold. And as she steps in, her eyes light up with like a pink glow. And behind her is like a person who has got like a notepad, and she says, "One second." She says as she walks down the line, to like the first person. Invention power. Second one, she says, emotion control. Keep an eye on this one. And then she just keeps going down the line, naming off abilities for people.
Mm-hmm.
And she comes up to in front of you, looks at you, and says, telepathy. Keep an eye on this one. Regeneration. And that's it, right?
Yeah, I think so. Tracking, if whatever that superpower is.
Some sort of following ability, and moves on to the next person.
Mm-hmm.
And they like mark that stuff down, and one of them comes by and says, "Sir, we're going to have to have you see a psychologist, see what sort of individual you are. You've got a ability that could be potentially detrimental to society, and we wouldn't want you to hurt anyone."
Oh, I would never. I would never. Oh no, my powers have come with such responsibility.
Roll personality. As this person scrutinizes you heavily.
Okay. Now, the smart person would spend karma, but I bet that he could survive a gulag, so I'm not gonna.
I need that karma.
Ah!
Oh! Is that a yellow or a red?
Unfortunately, my appearance is only remarkable, so it is a yellow.
Okay, they say. That is okay, comrade. It can be difficult learning of your abilities for anyone. And he pats your shoulder consolingly.
I'm so scared that I could be a danger to my fellow comrades.
So they keep you at the facility overnight, and then have a psychologist evaluate you.
What's the food like? What do they give me?
Not great.
But
But
like,
you can
on
tell
a
it's
scale-
it's the same food they eat at the cafeteria.
All right, yeah.
It's like school style, but like it's like tomato soup day at the at public elementary school.
Sure.
So
Not too bad.
beef stew day. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
So you go through, and I need you to make another personality roll for as you are evaluated by this psychologist. I'm gonna give you a +2 CS on this one because you shouldn't fail this because you're not some sort of psychopath.
Yeah. I get a green.
Okay, he keeps you all a little longer than your scheduled hour.
Because I tell him, I've always been motivated to protect people. That's really, it's something that I've always really valued. I've never known how I hope that I can use my powers for good. I did not see a way forward when I was in Latveria.
That gives you one he's like when he says to Latveria, he's like, and he goes on and asks you a couple more questions.
Yeah.
So
of course we admire Dr. Doom, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized that having someone as king is not a good way to organize. I'm so glad you have wound up here.
So you're given out a good psychological evaluation, and they assign you to a job as a investigator. And,
Right away?
yep, and they're sending you to a police academy.
Right away? Oh, fresh off the boat.
You've been here almost a week.
Yeah.
They say, congratulations, comrade. You'll be finding yourself with gainful employment and fulfilling career. We're
Typical pay.
with typical play. You are going to Voronezh
Yeah.
to be an investigator. They're like, you're very lucky. That is a very prestigious career, and you have a 20 popularity in the Soviet Union now.
Just by having the badge.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So you go, and what are you gonna do?
I mean, this is really weird, right? Because from a counter-espionage perspective, this is pretty wild that they're just going to send me to the academy.
Yeah. It would seem, for you, it would definitely seem that way, because you have been subjected to a number of, like, machinery tests and a psych evaluation, and then that weird robo guy hand. Actually, that's a good point. I need you to make a psyche roll.
Mm-hmm. Did I just, like, rat on myself for not doing my homework?
No.
Oh, no, it's a red.
Okay, that's good. While you are in the evaluation, that psych evaluation, you feel somebody trying to read your mind as you're getting evaluated to see what kind of
Sure. See whether I'm lying.
Yeah, well, they've done a lot of lie checks on you, honestly, already, but mostly to see whether you're a psychopath. And
Yeah.
you know, if they find that you're lying, you know.
Yeah.
But you got a red, so you can even turn this back on them, however you want to do it.
Yeah.
Project fake thoughts.
I think I just I let my surface thoughts through. I let them see what they need to see, right?
Okay.
Like, and then like hold it back. Like I mask that I'm hiding anything, right?
Yeah, perfect.
Like a real psychopath thing would do.
Yep. Yeah, so you pass it on, and but it is, not only is that like, yeah, it's very, no matter how it goes, even with all of those checks that they've done on you, which is honestly way more extensive than anywhere else you've ever traveled to.
Yeah.
But
no, I traveled to Latveria. That's not true.
Well, yeah, it's not true. Latveria was way above this. But it is still strange how quickly they're doing this for you. And you know what? Since you've expressed that suspicion, I will make you roll an intuition roll too.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's something unusual about this. As you're going through this. It's been almost a week to be assigned. You can see that some of the other people that you went through, and because some of the other individuals that fled here and did all the original paperwork with you, you were in line with at the citizenship office, right? Some of them would have taken that up right away, and they are still just kind of, you see them still meandering around in the aid buildings. So this seems to be something specific with that drop of you having a superpower.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. I don't really want to become a police cadet for the Soviet Union. But is it further east?
Somewhat. It's north and east.
Yeah. So, like, what would happen if I just bought a train ticket right now?
Well, you are...
Do I have freedom of movement is what I'm asking.
Officially,
have they told me not to leave town?
They have not told you not to leave town.
Okay.
But you haven't tried to leave Sevastopol, and you haven't had any problems.
Got it. But I also don't have any money, right?
Nope, not really.
Okay.
Your typical pay hasn't come into effect yet.
Yeah. And probably it's a bad look to use, like, an American debit card. Or an Irish debit card somewhere. So, I think I think part of Betty's just too damn curious. I think part of Betty's just having a really, like, he's come to explore the world and learn what it is to be a hero, and the opportunity to learn what it is like to be a hero in another country like this is too much to pass up. So against his better judgment, once again, when he knows he could just, like, hitch a ride on a train to a border and just run for it and probably make it, we're gonna go. We're gonna go to the police academy.
Yeah. That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
You are, however, you do get after the end of the first week, you get a basic wage payment.
Nice.
There's a minimum pay for everybody. And yeah.
I think so. I think that's it.
So you hop on the train and you head to the police academy. and you spend the next. They use telepathy to like quickly teach you some basics.
I bet after like a full, like 4 years at after a whole upbringing in a superhero-specific academy, that is quite good. Quite a quick study.
Yeah. I mean, he's pretty smart, so he doesn't really have any problems with it. It's pretty basic stuff.
Like criminals or scum, and it's okay to treat them however you want.
Also, I have the detective talent already, in case that comes up.
Yeah.
So, but I'm gonna step away for a second and use the restroom. I'll be
Okay.
right back.
I've been spending some of this time copying and pasting the details of my powers onto my character sheet.
Because it's
Which
so
is a
complicated.
Yeah, because it's a huge pain too, because the formatting from the power dock.
Oh yeah, it's a mess. It's so hard to work with. I just spent that a little bit of time after Jimmy left reading about Soviet wage reforms.
I think I should at least have good income.
You get typical income, but you get bonuses based on your productivity. So how many criminals you bring in?
How many criminals I leave infected?
I just got that.
I think we should catch somebody at the exam who has nefarious intent.
I was thinking that after he goes through like a month of training, he goes out and apprentices under you.
Sounds great. Dirty cop. Not dirty, just Russian.
Are you like KGB or are you just a police? You're police, right?
I would think like...
Well, you're superhuman police, actually. That's a separate division.
Yeah. So, like, as far as superhumans go, yeah, I'm smart, but am I really that smart? Also, I sent you a personal message. Not sure if you saw it.
On Discord?
Yeah.
Monstrous.
Okay. I'm sending you another one real quick.
Okay, I'm back.
Hey.
Did we check in with Speed yet?
We were just talking about it because he's about to come onto the scene.
Ooh.
Did you send that other message, Speed?
Yeah, I did. Did you see it?
There.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so you go through a month of Soviet police training. Benny,
Yeah.
you spend the next 4 weeks in Soviet police training. You are roomed with two other hero types. Or hero and training people. You guys have your own apartment block, and you notice that there is this is like a police apartment block. So you're roomed in there with all the other, like a bunch of other police officers in...
Do my apartment mates have names?
Their names, you've got one guy, right, in your room, is what I said? Two guys?
You said two, but it's
two
all
guys. Right. Two guys in your room. The first...
We can go to one. One's more personal.
Yeah, I think there's only one. I think that makes more sense. Like a bunk sort of thing. His name is Fima Viktorov. And he has the ability to shapeshift into animals.
Wow. Tell me, Fima Viktorov, are you from Russia?
He looks at you and he kind of confused, and he says, "Yes, comrade, I am from a small town near Samara."
You must tell me all about it, for I have only recently arrived. I escaped from Montevideo. I tell him my whole story. I'm going to ask him a lot of questions about his story.
He grew up on the kind of the Russian steppe, near a small town called Sukhodol, and there was like a big collective farms in the area.
Wow.
And his parents worked at a general store there, and he petitioned to join the police force when his superhuman abilities were discovered. But
animal shifting, what is that like? Were you feeling a certain way?
He was assigned initially to a construction work, but he finally got it.
But surely they already have animals for that.
Well, I'm able to shapeshift into many different beasts, and it was not the best use of my abilities, I believe, but I hear...
I can only picture a tiger working on a skyscraper.
He kind of laughs. More like a gorilla. It worked quite well, I suppose. But I hear the party has a computer to assign these sort of positions now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's very efficient.
Yes, it is. It's quite different from when I was a boy. He says, I suppose you wouldn't know, but the party was the leadership was dramatically. He looks around a little bit. Dramatically reformed when the Red Sun became a member of the upper leadership.
Yes, well, you will have to excuse me. I will be asking many ignorant questions. They did not let very much news of the outside world enter into Latveria. It was, even knowledge of current events could be seen as dissidence.
He laughs and he says, that is fine. I think that most outside of our friends do not know what goes on in the Soviet Union. For they fear that the workers of the world would join our revolution if they knew.
Ah, yes, it is true. I have seen many happy workers here. It's just an awkward silence.
Yep.
Tell me, would you like to go out drinking sometime?
Yes.
Can Vinny even feel the effect of alcohol?
Temporarily.
You have to drink an extreme amount incredibly quickly for an incredibly brief amount of time.
Yeah. He got it.
If he downs like a whole bottle of high-proof vodka, I think he can get drunk for maybe a minute.
Yeah, I was about to say 5 minutes.
Yeah.
5 minutes of drunk, 5 minutes of hangover. And then 5 minutes, and then he's back.
Yeah.
But he says
which is how he entertains FEMA. I think they go on just an incredible bender.
Yeah, FEMA transforms into like well, let's see, what could he do? Yeah, he transforms into a gorilla and drinks,
Yeah.
so he's able to drink more with you. But he's like, I should know better than to try to outdrink someone with regeneration, and he pats you on the back. And everybody else is just kind of like looking at you and the gorilla sitting in the bar.
Yeah, he's like, and yet you don't, my friend. And yet you don't. It's one of the mysteries of life.
It's by the end of your, a couple weeks pass. Your a lot of your training is about party loyalty and law enforcement practices. It's quite time consuming. You're bunked very close to the place. Your apartment is mostly left empty that you're sent to share with FEMA. And there's combat training, like hand-to-hand fighting, and you are leading. Benny's leading the class. He's got some of the best grades on the written tests.
Yeah.
And
the written test, I have a good.
I know.
A good...
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. You're no longer with super geniuses everywhere.
Oh.
And then he also has some of like the best combat scores. Most of these people have either very unpractical superpowers, like there's a guy with the ability to shoot spikes, and they're not that hard, but they're hard enough to kill somebody. There's a person who is able to detect superpowers. There's another telepath in here. There is a person that does not see who claims to be immortal.
Sure.
And there's a man who transforms into animals. And the final member of your class is a individual that can talk with computers and other devices. You've picked up a cell phone at this point in time. You're your little apartment built room has internet, but it's a great firewall internet sort of.
Sure. Yeah.
And yeah, and then as that time period comes to the end, FEMA talks to you as you guys are leaving the building. He's like, "So Ernest, well, have you thought of anyone you'd like to intern with or apprentice with during your final section of your training, your final month of training?"
Oh. You know, I honestly hope, this is going to sound weird, but I hope it's not someone too famous. Something about it, I feel like sometimes you meet someone who has lots of accolades, and they're not what they lived up to be. So, I think it'd be better to have someone more down to earth.
Well, he pats you on the shoulder and he says,
Hopefully
"Well, you're not being trained for a superhuman team, so you don't have to worry about that." And he pats you on the shoulder, and he says, "Your abilities are quite impressive, Comrade Ernest. So I think you'll get a good assignment, but they don't seem to be." And he hesitates for a second. "Don't take this the wrong way." And you can tell there's this machismo culture everywhere here, and
Sure.
you've learned that the police are kind of assigned in a kind of a 3-man squad, like a pursuit guy, a combat guy, and an investigator guy.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And you've been assigned to the investigator slot, and everybody really likes you at this point. And most of them are like, "Oh, Ernest, we're so sorry," and they took you out to drink and paid for your drinks that evening.
Which is a lot. That's an expensive bar tab.
That's why they all chipped in. All 7 of them.
Yeah. But what about you, FEMA?
Well, FEMA has been trained so far as a combat guy.
Yeah.
And he says, "I don't know. I don't know any of the officers here, but he leans in and he says, I know a pretty woman that is on the chase unit, who, and he winks at you. He says, I'm looking, it's nothing against you, Ernest, but, Comrade Ernest, but I am looking to get out of the single apartment block."
Yes. Yes. Well, you'll certainly be very eligible as a cop, as a police officer protecting the people and the workers. So, I think you'll do really well.
He says, "Well, let's keep in touch when you're out. I'm sure we'll be working together often, but..."
Yeah, here, I'll take your cell phone information, and then I'll save it.
Yeah.
Just in case.
You guys exchanged... Well, I'm sure you've already exchanged numbers a while ago, but yeah.
Yeah.
So, and you are assigned to a unit with a combat specialist who's got a code name, which is very unusual for a police officer. It insinuates he's gotten a demotion to police unit. And his name is his code name is Turmoil in Smyatanye. Is that how you want to go with it, Speed?
Smyatanye.
Smyatanye. Turmoil. A little bit of a search gets you Demetrius Konstantinovic.
Okay.
Spelling, if you would like it.
Yeah. Is he the combat or is he the chase?
He's the combat.
Gotcha. Who's our chase?
Your chaser.
Did we get the one that has the Russian woman in it?
You know what? I know what the person's power is going to be, but we'll make that a roll. There's not too many teams. I mean, some of these guys, 3 of them are going to be sent out to like an outside community that are getting trained here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is the one with the Russian woman in it.
Sure.
Her ability is known to be is called Dreamweaver. Her name is Glafira Sokolov.
Can you put that in the chat?
Sokolov.
Sokolov. Okay. Oh my bad, I misspelled it. There we go.
Perfect. By the way, Jacob, am I starting neutral, under, or over?
What? Oh, flat. Normal.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. And yeah, her ability is called Dreamweaver in the database. Turmoil's ability is Classified plus Battle Suit.
Got it. And I wouldn't have any information about what dreamweaving is.
There's probably a
Can I
little
roll superhero trivia?
you've never heard of it.
Okay.
There's a little bit of a description, and it seems to be about manipulating, creating, and moving dreams.
Got it.
But she's designated as a chaser somehow.
Okay.
The classifications are loose, I guess.
Yeah.
Alright. So, you are in the city now, and you're at the police station, and it is.
What is our beat? What is our assignment?
You are as.
I'm hoping for the countryside.
Well, no, you're in the city.
No.
I mean, where do you think supers are most likely to cause trouble?
Yeah, you guys
Yeah,
are
but we're not
in.
like an anti-super force.
You are.
Oh.
Yeah.
So there are also normal beat cops?
Yeah.
Got it.
You're a normal beat superhero cop.
Got it.
And so the last thing they tell you on the training, and they're like, one of the captain of the team will be holding onto this phone, and they show it to you. And it is a red phone with a hammer and sickle on it. And it says, this phone can connect you to the Superhuman Strike Force hotline. If you're in difficulty and you think you're going to run into a problem that you can't solve, contact these people and a dispatcher will send someone this way. Do you understand? This is a very important phone. Everyone's like,
Who
yes,
is the team
comrade.
captain? Is it you, Demetrius?
Yeah, Demetrius is your team captain.
Yes. Here's my looks. Here's what I look like.
Yeah, you're in a super suit and you're really scary.
Right, but here's here's my stats.
He doesn't
Do
wear
I get
the.
to see you out of your super suit ever?
I will take off my helmet so you can see I'm bald. My skin looks sort of gray, and my eyes are also like gray-blue.
Got it. Well, are you from Russia, Demetrius?
Yeah, I'm from Voronezh Oblast, south of Moscow.
Oh, that's where we're
What
in.
about you, Glafina?
She nods and she says, "Yes, comrade. I am from Niznedevitsk. I should pick some. Staraya.
Well, I'm so happy.
Which you kind of know at this point because you kind of got a geography quiz. It's very close by.
Yeah. Well, I'm so happy to have only been in Russia for in the Soviet Union for briefly, and already be helping people and doing my duty for the people and the workers.
Glafira looks at you, looks around, and she says, "You have gotten a very secure position. Best of luck to you, comrade."
You think so? You think our team is? You think we could be here for work and do good for a long time?
You are fortunate to work under me.
She doesn't say anything else, and she just kind of gives you a look. Which roll intuition.
Alright. Alrighty. That's a white. That figures, Benny.
Maybe she likes you.
Sure.
She stared into your eyes a little too long. I think that might mean something. You've had a couple experiences with women, and
yeah.
she's really good looking. She has a high personality score, so
yeah, sure. Okay. All right. Yeah. So I guess we have assigned patrol routes and times that we need to patrol.
You are all pretty fast, I would say.
Targets?
What's your endurance speed?
My endurance is good.
Okay, so never mind. You have a Turmoil has a
Motorbike.
Yeah, he has a motorcycle.
Sanctioned by the government.
It's your job's basically to patrol and be on alert for when you get a call about a superhuman. And if you notice any crimes in action, even if they're not by superhumans, take care of them. Otherwise, you don't have to answer dispatch calls for non-superhuman crimes.
Unless we want to.
You're somewhat not encouraged to, unless they call for backup.
Not pictured, by the way, on my character suit. I do have a cape, just for the record.
With a hammer and sickle on it.
Motorbikes?
Glafira does not have any vehicle.
Yeah, okay.
What about you? How fast is Benny?
Well, Benny's endurance is 30. Remarkable.
Okay, so Benny can get a motorcycle assigned to him too.
Nice. That'll make it easier when I have to flee the country later. What?
Okay. So you guys, Captain. Captain, my Captain. What do you want to do?
I guess I'll stop doing my Russian accent.
Yeah.
It's 10 after. We start our patrol now.
Roger that, Captain.
Okay.
Yep. So yeah, we go do our beat.
Yeah, you guys head out onto your beat, and
1 second. As we step out the door, a slight gust whips around and makes my cape blow majestically.
Perfect. Everyone, everyone witnesses that. Some people are surely
very majestic, Demetrius.
Yeah, super impressed.
I know.
I thought I had some specific Soviet villains in this stat book. Alright, so as you guys head out, you begin a pretty normal day of patrol. Demetrius, where do you want to take the newbie?
Well, I guess what's around? I guess high priority locations, like if there's a power plant or, you know, a factory nearby, we'll patrol near those. Banks, wherever the business center is near town.
Okay. You're in a big city, so you know you head downtown. You walk downtown or drive it. You're taking by the stadiums. There's an island in the middle of the river with a large island that has a soccer stadium on it. He says it could get pretty rowdy after a game happens. And there's a number of commerce districts and other areas, all of which are points of interest. And then he takes you out towards the university, where there's been trouble with research being stolen or interfered with. And then this is mostly a little industrial town. Or not a little. It's a large industrial town. And then you end the tour on the north side of town near the freight and passenger rail station. Which is of particular importance because if that gets cut off, a lot of inner city transportation would be blocked. And as you are finishing that up, there is a call on the dispatch nearby of a shooting happening at a local apartment complex.
All right. Demetrius picks up the phone and says, "We'll be there," and then just hangs up. And I point us in the direction with like just my arm straight forward, and we take off.
And it's been a good portion of the day for you, Demetrius. So it's been about 4 hours, I'd say. Just so you're keeping track of that.
Gotcha.
So the three of you run out. Glafira is able to run pretty fast, like 50-ish miles per hour. So you run. She runs that way. You two drive your motorcycles, showing up as some regular police officers are trying to. Oh, we lost Jimmy.
I'm here.
Yeah, you show up as some regular police officers are seeing a number of armed individuals firing on each other from between two apartment complexes. And the officer's like, he looks over at you and he says, sir, or Comrade Konstantinovic, I think we have this one under control. You should remain on alert. If we need you, we'll call you in, sir.
But comrade, someone could get hurt.
And then you.
I look at my watch, noticing that 4 hours have passed. I sniff the air to see if I can sense any unusual properties from the combatants.
No, they're all human.
Okay.
Then
we continue our patrol.
One of them shoots the other guy in the building, on the building across from it, and they're like, "We need to get in there and stop this before someone else gets hit." And
Benny's gonna start telepathically picking off the guys that are the criminals.
All right.
From a distance, secretly going to try to.
So Benny comes up and he starts to put his hand up to his head and he focuses, and he pings one of the criminals. There seems to be about 4 and 6 of them, 4 on one side, 6 on the other, and he picks off the first guy. He drops, and at that point in time, you see a van drive up and SWAT shields are there. The police take them out, and they start to storm the buildings.
Okay.
Some more gunshots happen, and you keep picking them off.
Yeah. Sure, unless we're not doing anything.
Yeah, okay. Dink.
I was asked not to intervene, but hey, is this really intervening if they all suddenly just have strokes?
So you take down the third one. You are you see that the police are entering in to the sides and
I'm
take down.
Use my first aid to check the guy who was shot, make sure he's not dead, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, so you follow up behind the police officers to check their first aid.
Yeah.
On the guy that shot, he's wounded, but he's not going to die.
Okay.
And they're like, it seems like a bunch of them have been knocked out somehow, and they're arresting them. Having stormed the remainder.
I tell them that we're going to get back on our patrol, that we need to go to the local supervillain prison.
Ernest is inside the building with the police.
I didn't follow them that far, did I?
Yeah, you had to. He got shot inside the building. If you want to go check on first aid.
Okay. Well, then I guess I did. I didn't realize how far away I was walking, but Benny would have checked on him anyways.
Yeah. All right.
So.
They continue to arrest people, and they're like, "You need to get. You're outside your jurisdiction, comrade."
Right. I apologize. You guys are doing tremendous work. But
they're just letting him bleed there for a second as they arrest the other ones.
Yeah, but as a question, what would have happened? What would have happened if you had encountered harsher resistance? Would he have been asked to step in, or other people could have been hurt?
If we needed backup, we would have called in others. It seems like, comrade, are you an apprentice officer?
Yeah, it's my first day on the job.
You need to get back out of here, or we will have to write you up on this one, and you don't want that.
Okay, I believe it. Heads up, that's a bad joke. I've got to go. I'm back on my motorcycle. Bye, comrade.
Demetrius, he leaps out of the building and
onto my bicycle.
As he comes out, I look at him and I say, "I heard in academy they said you were smart. I'm not so sure. Let's go."
All right.
Yeah.
So you three make your way over towards the superhuman prison, as you were called, and you get a call on the radio that says, "We have an incident, domestic dispute going on the south side of town. Prospect appears to be armed. It's just me and Victor. We're going to need backup on this one."
Oh, they requested for backup.
Not from our squad. Normal police can handle.
But they just said they can't because they're the two backups. Or have I misunderstood?
We are not only patrol.
Lavera says he's right. We need to save our abilities for when there is a more serious issue, and they will come up. Ernest, they always do.
They do?
Yes.
I pat him on the back and I say, "Patience."
Okay, but there's a comrade who's
Under fire.
comrade's in trouble, aren't they?
I put my hand on your shoulder sort of firmly and I say, the visit to the prison is important.
I think Benny lets himself get led.
So you guys are pulling up in front of the prison, and they say, and then there's another call in. 1 second. They say, oops, need to switch that. Calling in. We have a issue here. We have Sliania active again. Seems to be causing mass delusions. We're about to have a mass riot here at the stadium. Needing backup immediately.
It's not us.
Glafira looks at you, Demetrius, and she says, "It's Sliania again. Turmoil. We'll need to get in there. Perhaps the rookie is suitable for this. I hear he has a mental ability."
Can you do it from here?
No. I think I need visual contact.
Yes, you don't really know who he is.
Okay. So, I just say, we go. But we come back to prison later.
Alright, vroom, vroom, it's a motorcycle squad. You know what? She's got a motorcycle now, too. She picks one up at the prison. Now you're a motorcycle gang. And you guys zoom across the place, and you hear that the people who were under fire have officer hit, and then you hear backup nearby. We'll be there. ETA 1 minute.
Yeah.
Ambulance on the way too.
It's on the way.
Yeah. To that,
Okay.
and those individuals, the ones that called in for backup earlier.
Got you. But there are also mass delusions happening, right?
Yes.
Gotcha.
All right, so you two come up to the stadium, and there is shrieks and screams and anger, and you hear like, "Ah, ah, get him!"
Yeah.
Kind of shouts and everything
Here
on
we
the
go.
inside of the stadium.
I'm gonna weave in through the entrance. See if I can get visuals.
Yeah, you
Okay.
go vroom vroom and wheelie, and then you come up to the entrance and kind of jump it over top of the turnstiles, and there's some people standing out. And Demetrius, what are you doing? Glafira is like walking around looking, and at the outskirts of the building. What are you going to do, Demetrius?
I'm going to try and sniff her out. We've encountered her before, so...
Sliania is a man who's the Russian name for fusion.
Okay. And,
Oh, should we have more different music?
I'm switching it right now, so I'm glad you said something. I had to copy the link.
So, well, I guess I sniff around for them. Do I find them?
There's definitely a person with superpowers inside the building.
I can't pinpoint them, though.
No.
Okay, well, I just walk into the building.
Okay, you guys both need to make psyche rolls.
That's a white.
Why'd that get messed up?
It looks like it. I don't know.
Well, I think I got a green.
I have to take that back. It's an intuition roll.
Uh-oh. That's less good.
That's still a white.
It's a green, though.
Okay, nice. All right. Let's see. What did you need here? Yeah. So as you two drive in, actually, Demetrius jumps over the turnstiles. You're on your motorcycle driving through the under parts of the stadium, and then suddenly sprouting from the bottom are a bunch of hands that like raise themselves up as zombies, and they lunge at you, and make an agility roll to dodge. Meanwhile, Turmoil, you see an individual who you have faced before. The Let's see, what's a Russian word for lava man?
For Lava Man?
Lavavoy Chelovic. You see Lavavoy Chelovic in front of you.
Lavavoy Chelovic.
Well,
Alright.
An enemy of yours that you've faced a few times in the past.
Alright. Are they made out of lava?
He seems to be. You believe he is made out of lava, yes.
Okay.
And he is radiating heat. You can feel it, and you fear as if you approach closer that he will get you.
Okay. What are my surroundings like?
You're in the lower part of a stadium. So, what are you going to do, Benny, Ernest?
Did I dodge the hands?
Well, it was your agility roll, 55. Is that a green?
Yeah.
Yeah, you slide to the stop there in front of you as the zombies pull themselves up out of the ground that like just kind of rips apart underneath of them.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going deeper into the stadium, right?
Yeah, you were trying to go around to where they like bring the vehicles in to get the ambulances through, but they stopped you.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm leaping off the bike and like over, like I'm taking a full flying leap.
Okay, make a strength roll.
Straight into danger. Uh-oh.
You jump, and then one of them grabs you by the foot, and you go boom and slam into the ground. As you hit the ground hard, you take 20 points of damage, and you look down at it, and you're bruised, your nose is bleeding, and you don't seem to be healing.
Okay.
No resistance.
20. Yep. Cool.
Alright, the Lavavoy Chelovic looks at you and he says, "Oh, Turmoil, it's you again. You're not going to get out of here this time, and I'm not going to go to jail."
Okay, so,
And he goes up like this, and he transforms the pipes up above into volcanic ash, and then he gestures down, and they spray at you as a blast of ashes.
Okay, so real quick, does it smell like they are there too?
Yeah. It smells like the cement underneath of you is melting. There's like an ashy smell everywhere. It feels hot as they come in close, though they haven't rushed you to grab you, which is something he sometimes does. And he is glowing with a light reddish collar.
Okay, so what I will do is, I assume there's a water fountain or something nearby. I will make water blast at them.
Okay. Yeah, he just turned the water pipes into ash, so yeah, there's one big access point. Okay, I need you to make a liquid animation roll then. Oh, I need you to dodge first.
Okay, there's my dodge.
You leap to the side, and you believe you've dodged it very well, and you don't feel anything, but you look back, and the ash has coated your legs, but it just seems to be an effect of the spray. The superheated ash, you dodged, so you're okay.
Gotcha. All right, and then I'm gonna try and blast them with water.
Okay. Make a liquid animation roll.
Is that not an agility roll?
You would make it at 1, 2, but you need to make a liquid animation roll here.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that is green. Yeah, that's
You
a
go
green.
like this, and you gesture, and you can feel yourself moving the water, but for some reason it's misdirected, and it goes back down the tunnel. And your control seems to be not. It doesn't work. Your power is not working like you believe it should.
Okay. And do I get to roll a reason roll now, or?
No. Nope.
I mean, cause all right. Go ahead.
Yeah.
All right.
You failed the first one though, so.
All right. So, is it back to me, Jake?
Yep.
All right. So here's the deal. Hands hurt Benny. He didn't regenerate, right?
Yep.
He got like slammed by hands that is not regenerating.
Yep.
That's having been in the game as long as Benny has. That's a red flag. So, I think what he's gonna do is he's just gonna close his eyes, let the hands hit him, and just reach out blindly with telepathy to try to find a hostile presence. Just like full close, and then just like outward mind to mind to see what is there.
All right, make a telepathy roll.
Sure.
And the zombies, they're zombies, right? They just pile on top of you. You can feel the weight pressing down on you, and you hit the ground. And then you kind of close your eyes, and you reach out with telepathy, and you realize no one is around you. And you open your eyes again, and they're all gone.
Okay. Got it. So it's like incontrovertible proof that it was an illusion.
And yeah, you're healed.
Oh, nice. Because it was never doing any true damage to me.
Yeah.
Got it. It was a yellow, by the way, on the...
Yeah. All right. So speed. The power not working as you believe it should, and what you remember of the scenario. You're wondering if this is maybe part of the illusion. Roll a intuition roll.
Could just be higher.
Let's see. That is a green.
No, it didn't. It doesn't feel like an illusion. This is not like fighting. This is not like fighting. I forgot his name. Slavonia. No.
Yeah. And even if it were an illusion, it just feels like it could really kill you.
Okay.
Sliania.
Okay. What I'm gonna try and do is I am going to try and feed.
Okay. You rush forward, and the lower part of your mouth falls down, and they make what do you do first? Do they make a roll first? Is that right?
I make a power intensity feat against their psyche.
Or do they make a roll against your power intensity feat?
Hold on. I have it. Okay. Living or sentient beings are harder to drain. The victim's psyche determines what intensity feat is required.
Okay.
That's how it's phrased in the
So
book.
you make a roll The feat would be automatic, I believe. So they kind of freeze up as you look at them, as you've done this to this guy before, and you come forward, and the lower part of your face mask is dissolved down, your fangs appear, and you snap into his neck. Normally this would burn you, but nothing you feel nothing as you bite into it. You feel the meat and you feel yourself biting into the place, but you don't feel yourself getting full. So roll a there it is. Intuition again.
What does Benny see now that he's not hallucinating?
You're in an empty hallway in front of you, and there's your motorcycle set back. You realize you jumped up over top of one of those hot dog carts, and you tripped over top of it earlier. And up in front of you is a pathway to the left that takes you out to the field.
Gotcha.
Okay, do I get any boosts or anything for having, like, deducted that obviously this guy is?
No.
I know I'm used to fighting.
You do not.
No, okay, it's still a green.
But you got it this time, because it's easier
okay.
once that happens. So, you blink your eyes a couple times, and he's gone.
Alright. Have you guessed what my power is yet, Jimmy?
Did you bite anybody living?
Oh, did I bite anybody living, Jacob?
No.
No, it was just there. Gotcha.
Jimmy, you hear, like, screams and pain and all kinds of stuff going on up front, like fighting.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm gonna be more cautious this time. I'm gonna move up the hallway, but I'm gonna, like, duck ahead, like, duck from cover, right? Not gonna make as obvious an appearance, but I'm gonna try to get a visual on the field.
Okay, so you duck out, you look around, roll intuition.
There we go again. Bad intuition. Okay, it's green.
You see Glafira nearby. She seems to have a laser rifle in hand, and she's perched on a nearby building. And she nods to you, I got your back. And you look around and you see levitating in the middle of the field a man in a multicolored light green and silver uniform that has in his hand some sort of like wand item. It's just a smooth piece of wood. And he is gesturing wildly, and as he does so, you can see that the football, the soccer players are like just beating each other down, and like a bunch of them have teamed up on one guy, and they're like they've beaten him to his face. It's like almost like just blood.
Sure.
And then there's like a mass brawl going on in the stands, and he's just laughing maniacally.
Sure. Well, first things first, Benny being Benny is gonna jump into the thick of that guy getting his face bumped in and pull him out.
Alright,
Like,
yeah.
Innocent, this isn't what they teach you in police academy, but innocent civilian first.
Yeah, as
right?
you do, you get pummeled, but
Yeah.
they're normal human strength people, so
Yeah.
maybe good strength since they're professional athletes, but you walk away from that pretty easily. And you've got him, and then he like looks up at you and like rolling one way, swallowed shut, and he goes boom, and he punches you right in the nose.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I'll get you."
I very gently, knock him out. You know what I mean? Like, sorry
Boom.
about this. Yeah. But not in a way that it's gonna like endanger him, you know?
Yeah, you do that like martial artist neck chop.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
That's my action. Yeah.
Turmoil.
Alright, I'm
You
gonna...
need to use your
since
Russian name. I should have learned how to pronounce the Russian words for this. Smyatneya. Smyatne.
Yeah, so my character, what they do is they will walk into the stadium. Demetrius walks into the stadium looking and sniffing to get closer to the illusionist.
He is levitating there in the center of the field, seen exactly as I described. You guys are just on opposite ends of the field.
Okay. I go and I try and drain him.
Okay, can you fly?
No. I bring water with me to try and drag him down.
Anyway, you busted one of the pipes, brought some water out with you. Make your water attack. He doesn't seem to have noticed you.
That is a green.
You blast him, and he goes, oh, and he stumbles, and he falls, because it almost like he wasn't levitating, but he was standing on something, and he hits the ground really hard. And how much damage does your water do?
40.
And he hits the ground, and then his wand flops to the ground uselessly next to him, and everybody just kind of stops what they're doing, and people are like, oh, and they're like, what was going on? Oh my God, are you okay? And they just start talking to each other, and he's not moving.
I pick up the wand and I drain it.
Okay, you get 30 as you bite into the wand.
And then I feed on him.
Okay, and as you finish on the wand, you look over, and he seems to be gone. And you're sitting next to one of those telephone pole. You're standing next to one of those telephone pole, like bucket trucks.
But did I really get the 30?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Cool.
And then, meanwhile, Benny, you turn back around. You see a blast of high-pressured water knock the guy off the back of this, off of what he was standing. You thought he was levitating, but as he hits the ground, a bucket truck appears in front of him. And then you see Demetrius cross that ground really quickly, reach down, grab hold of something, pull a piece of wood up to a wand, and bite into it.
Yeah.
And from it comes a blast of, like, golden energy that absorbs into his body.
Got it. And I see, do I have eyes? Do I have eyes on our perp?
You do not. And so what do you want to do?
Okay. Do I have not eyes on him as in I saw him fall somewhere?
You saw him fall behind the bucket truck, which blocked your view. Because once he got hit, he lost concentration on the hallucination, which made the bucket truck not see through anymore.
Got it. Okay. So I should be able to, if I run, be able to get to the other side of the bucket truck and try to get eyes on this guy.
Yeah. So as you cover the ground, you look over there, and he seems to be gone.
Okay. Well, telepathy scan for mind.
All right, roll psyche.
Green, unremarkable.
Nothing happens. No pings.
Okay.
Other than the football players and the... There's a lot of pings, actually. It's just
Who are still going crazy?
Nope, everybody seems to have been broken free.
Okay.
I sniff the wand and see if I can sniff which direction he went in.
No.
Does this power work like this?
No, it does not.
Why not? Dogs can do it.
Oh, yeah, wait. Hyper olfactory.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. You need to roll an intuition roll. Because even your nose is hallucinating.
Alright, that is a white.
Okay, you do not know where he went. Sometimes that works, though.
Yeah. Do we have comms with Dreamweaver?
You have the police radio. It's probably on your suit.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'd radio her and say, Seems like he's disguised himself. Eyes out. Be ready to shoot.
She says, don't worry, comrade. I've got him. We'll catch him tonight.
You what?
We'll catch him tonight.
Yeah.
Demetrius, you know how her power works, so you're not concerned anymore when she says that.
Okay. All right. I just I reclose my helmet, and I feel a little bit satisfied, and I'm like, all right, well, let's follow the chaser's instructions. What should we do next?
Looking for you on our call. I'm gonna keep looking, obviously, but if I didn't scan them, I have tracking. Obviously, if I'm hallucinating, it won't work, but it's a superpower, so maybe.
You can make a tracking roll.
Tracking versus detective, right?
Tracking, just tracking, but versus his hallucinations.
Oh,
So.
shit.
Nice.
It's a red.
Okay,
Remarkable tracking.
that's what you needed. You needed a red because his hallucinations are spectacular. So,
Yeah.
you have
God, is it something where like I followed the absence of a trail?
yeah. There's like clearly no trail here, and that's like the only place where there isn't any evidence of somebody walking in recently. And you follow it, and he's kind of moving pretty slow, and he is making his way out onto the island and then across the bridges. So you guys chase after him.
Yeah.
Or you begin to chase after him.
Yeah.
And then
I think I got him.
Turmoil, what are you going to do?
I'm gonna go after him.
Okay, you guys pursue. Glafira is just kind of providing overwatch. She didn't even have a chance to shoot last time, so... Yeah, you guys chase out after the building. She can't see him either because she's under the same hallucination. And you catch up to where he's at, roughly. Like, you know he's out on the sidewalk somewhere.
Yeah.
Roll intuition. Benny and Turmoil. Or Ernest and Turmoil.
I get a white again.
Yeah, I think I got a white.
I don't think I've ever rolled so many intuition rolls in my life.
Yeah. Did you get a white?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's okay. Because that's not what I was trying to do. Because I expected to not see him. But I know his general area.
You you caught up to him. He should be right in the area in front of you somewhere, but you're not sure where.
Yeah, that's okay. Because sometimes you just need to get messy, right? There's no civilians around, right? There's nothing...
You're back. He made it out onto the streets, so yeah, there are.
There are people.
Yeah.
Damn.
Couple
Benny
cars.
Benny was gonna throw stuff and make collateral damage happen. But that seems like a potentially bad...
the other police might stop you from causing mass collateral damage.
Okay. Then in that case, unfortunately...
You know he's in this area, though. For 100% certain.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's within 50 feet of you.
Okay. A thing that I have in my inventory, which I don't know, inventory is weird now, but it says I should have a flashbang. Is that reasonable equipment for me to have gotten?
Make an agility roll. We'll see if you can hide it somewhere on your person all this time.
No, I wouldn't hide it. I'm just saying, would I be able to requisition it?
No, probably not.
Okay.
You're an apprentice
We're
police
supers.
officer.
We don't need flashbangs.
You're an apprentice police
Yeah.
officer. They're not going to give you... You have a gun, and that's it. One gun. It's probably got like a bullet in it. No, I'm joking.
Sure.
But you do have a
Alright.
gun, by the way, and a badge. So.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, there's nothing I can do except what I've already done. I can scan with telepathy again.
No,
if there's no one within 50 feet, I will try to do a telepathic blast.
that wouldn't work. It's not
Would not?
telekinetic. No, I don't think it would just hit everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, Demetrius, is there anything you want to do? Glafira can't do anything unless she just fires laser rifles into the area around you. Rounds. Which,
So
75% clips somebody.
So I guess I will. Is there water nearby?
Yeah, you're on an island.
Okay, I'm gonna try and make like it rain just in this general area and see if the rain misbehaves anywhere.
Okay, So basically, you're just splashing the whole area with liquid animation, or you're trying to use your weather power.
With liquid animation.
Okay. So you boom, scoop up a ton of water, drop it down. It starts to hit the ground. Roll an intuition.
Can I be clocking this also?
No, I don't think so. I think you guys have made almost all the attempts you can. Okay.
I just can't roll today. I haven't rolled above like a 54.
So, yeah, the water hits, the hallucination seems to be perfect. You know you're hallucinating, or you're pretty sure of it. You're just not sure if you're looking at the hallucination or he's just not standing in that area. So,
Yeah.
and then your tracking ability sort of turns off. Doesn't track
Yeah,
forever.
he gets out of range.
Yep.
Okay.
Some bad
Well,
intuition rolls at the end.
plan B from our tracker, eh?
So, Jacob, you said I know what the third member's powers are, and I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm like, oh well, and I get on my bike. Just tell us when to move, I say to our chaser.
Yeah, she is on her way down, getting on her motorcycle, driving over to you guys. And she says, sir, comrade, what was your last name? Demetrius what?
Konstantinovich.
Konstantinovich. Where do we go to next, Captain?
I would still like a visit to the correctional facility.
And she says, are you sure they'll allow that, considering you've eaten so recently?
I look at the wand and I throw it into the water.
Glavera just kind of shrugs at the blatant disregard of evidence and disposal of evidence. And she radios in, Slyanya has escaped. We are in pursuit. I will take us to him tonight. She says, looks like it's overtime, Captain.
All right, I'll need the extra energy to the correctional facility.
Okay, you guys go to the prison, and he leads you in to the superhuman section. There's like 4 or 5 superhumans in there. There's like a really big, muscular guy, a man made out of energy, some sort of cat-like figure. And then there's a man who's like totally bounded up, and he's got like ashen gray skin and gray eyes. And
amazing that we have so many villains here in this area.
Demetrius, it's your brother.
It's my brother.
Yes, your evil brother.
Well, I'm sure he's probably immune to my power at this point. So I guess I go. I'm assuming that some of them are bound up other than him.
Yeah, they're all bound up. They're in prison.
Okay, so I just I don't know if they can resist if they're bound. So I just go in and I attempt to only feed once.
Okay. You walk in and the guards look at you and they're like, have you fed today, sir? Or comrade?
I'm actually right at base level right now. I say no.
Alright, roll personality. You know what? No. They go, yeah, roll personality. Oh, is that a 56?
That's a green.
They go, well, fine. I feel like you were in here this morning, but, well. And they open the door up. And you go in and you watch him bite somebody in the neck and drain energy out of their body. And then he tries to stop. Roll, and they say, Rookie, you gotta get in there as you're standing at the doorway. Glafira, looks in and she says, I don't want to be a part of this. And she walks out.
So do you walk in
Jimmy,
while I'm feeding
you're
Jimmy?
not, I can't hear you. Nope.
I think did he say he's stepping away again? I can't
No,
remember.
I can see him talking in the camera, but I can't hear him.
Huh.
Nope. Still can't hear anything.
Do you want me to go ahead and do my roll?
Yeah, make your,
Can you hear me now?
yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
I can
can.
hear you again.
Alright.
Make your roll to, make your roll to end it.
Right. Anything other than a red is a success.
No, we're doing white. Anything other than a white.
Oh, we're doing it reverse? That's
Yeah,
way
because
harder.
yeah, well, the red gets harder the better you get, which doesn't make the higher your power rank goes. No, it's your psyche. The higher your psyche goes.
That's a white.
Okay, so what did you say when they sent you in?
What do you mean? Oh, like Jimmy.
Yeah,
What did Jimmy
yeah,
say?
Ernest.
So I was gonna telepathically just get I wanted to figure out what these guys are locked up for.
Oh,
Like,
I mean, you can
are
just pull that open on your police laptops that they issue you.
yeah,
As you're riding over here and looking at, you're like, oh, look at all these supervillains, and they
yeah.
and it's
Question
like,
is, are they all criminals? Or are there any political dissidents or something here?
no, all criminals.
Okay.
The political dissidents. You heard FEMA tell you that they get shipped off to Siberia.
Okay. So this guy's actually like a murderer or something.
Yeah. We're gonna say he's the cat guy, and he cut people up and ate parts of them.
Oh, okay. So real bad news. All right, cool. Anyways, I am at the doorway of the cell as you trying to feed, right?
Yeah. And they go, hey, he broke my arm last time, so it's all on you.
All right. Just pull him out of here.
And as you look over at him, he goes like this, and then he's drains a bunch of them, and then his eyes go wide, and they turn bloodshot from the red, and he just starts gnashing at them, ripping open their chest as he drains more power from them. As he goes into a crazed, as he goes into crazed frenzy, he's like, ah, damn it, this is just like last Tuesday. Says one of the guards.
All right, come on, let me at him. And I tried to. What's worse? Do I pull him out? Or
that's so when you drain 50 and then you drain another 50 as Benny tries to decide what the best mode of action is.
Nope. Here's what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. All right. I'm gonna dive in. I'm gonna throw, because I'm gonna assume that the villain is fully unconscious at this point.
No, he doesn't seem to be. He seems to be hurting. It looks like he got bit pretty hard twice.
Yeah.
And there's quite a bit of blood, but he's conscious. They're bite wounds, you know.
Okay.
Pretty significant bite wounds, but you know.
Yeah. All right. So then I'm gonna just knock it out. Try to like get in between them. Be like, hang on.
Get in between them.
Let me see what my strength is right now.
So wait, he's just getting in between you and saying, "Hang on," like trying to get him to stop, talk him out of it.
Yeah. I mean, like, Betty wouldn't know that this is a vampire frenzy, right?
I don't know. I'm just letting you do whatever you think.
Also, I don't think he can punch a superior yet. You know.
So as you like get in front of him, and you're like, "Hang on!" He just ignores you, and he bites him again, and the guy goes, and he passes out in front of you, and he goes, he like stops and like licks his lips and goes, shakes his head, and
All right. So now that the villain's unconscious, I'm gonna grab the villain, dive out of the cell, and slam the door shut.
The villain is. This is what we were talking about. He was asking if they're restrained, right? And they are restrained. They're like strung up onto a wall, kind of thing.
Oh, okay, got you. They're like actually on a wall.
Yeah, they're restrained in the building. They can't really move.
All right. I'm going to pull the vampire out of here.
The vampire or the other guy?
I'm gonna try to pull Turmoil.
Okay.
Because it seems like that's more likely of happening.
Yeah. Turmoil, what do you want to do? You've drained him entirely, so.
So I'm out of my frenzy now. So I just like, yeah, I know. I just look at you. I say, I know. And I'm just like, but for record, I feel great.
And then the guy, you look back over at him, and you're like, he's dead. And then the guy in front of you, the cat man, the cannibalistic cat man, looks up, who should be dead because you can just see that he's had the whole neck ripped out of him, right after that third bite, and he like opens his eyes, and you can see the neck start to knit itself back together as his eyes look pale gray.
I think just for the record, I think also it's supposed to be a red for them to turn.
Yeah, I know. No, is it a red for them to turn?
Yeah.
No, just a psyche feat. Oh, yes. Okay, never mind. It says a red feat. Okay, no, he's just dead. Never mind.
Got it.
I thought he had to fail a psyche feat.
Got it.
As I walk out the guards, I say, sorry for the mess. I'll be good for about 3 days.
Actually, you know what? That's too low. 99, for most people, that would be a 99. So that would be a 1% chance of turning.
Well, yeah, you get murdered by a vampire, though. Probably
Also,
depends whether you have karma to spend, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? He's a supervillain. Maybe he should... Yeah.
He probably doesn't have that much karma.
No, you're right. He doesn't have that much karma. He's dead, yeah. He should have spent the karma. He would have tried to spend the karma to become a vampire and live, but he did not.
Yeah. Sure. Well, Benny's shocked.
And the guards come in, they're like, oh, and they poke him a couple times with the butt of their gun, and he doesn't move, and they go, oh, into the incinerators, comrade. Yes, we'll have to file this one under workplace accident.
So, what am I supposed to do next time, for the record?
I say, you stand by, and if I don't stop, you push me with all your strength. Hopefully it's enough.
I see.
So you got 150, right? No, you didn't get 150. You got like 130 before he's dead.
Gotcha. You're making this math complicated, and I don't love it.
I'm sorry. It's 130 divided by 5, right?
Right, yeah, so it's
26.
26 apiece, yeah. So that's enough to last for a whole day, actually, only.
You're a menace to society.
It is one from each stat, right?
Yep.
Quite a curse.
Maybe it doesn't happen when I'm asleep.
Yeah, that
No,
would make sense.
I'm pretty sure this is why being a vampire is a bad thing.
I don't know. I mean, 8 hours sleep. I mean, vampires are supposed to be able to sleep for a long time, right? And then...
They're supposed to be in a coffin, completely dormant.
Yeah, but he's not a normal vampire.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I would say...
Anyway.
I would say probably, yeah. I mean, I'd say that's probably just... Yeah, it probably just declines 1 point per hour. No matter what, so... You could always spend karma to get a not a white on your feeding frenzy roll.
Well, I mean, regardless, like, I'm gonna have to feed again almost every 8 hours, so...
Yeah, you have to feed every 24 hours, basically.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
There you go.
are we gonna catch that last guy?
So as you guys step out, Glufira's like, Rookie, what did you think?
Of the murder?
Sacrifice for the
She
motherland.
looks
They are
at
criminal.
She looks at Demetrius and she says, I mean, I suppose you could call it a murder, but it was more like he had it coming, so...
I'm not lodging charges against the superior, although I'm not sure where that would take me, but, no, that wasn't great. I don't feel great about it, to be honest. I wish I could have intervened better. You really could have coached me on this, Chief. I mean, if you had told me, hey, you might need to pull me out from feeding somebody, that would have been very helpful. And instead, just, so...
Here we are.
Frustrated.
This 6'4" Russian guy just shrugs at you, arms out like, eh.
He looks super ripped now, by the way.
How many people have you killed that way?
Glufira looks down at her fingers and she's like counting.
Better if I don't know.
In which year? Yeah, so I look super, I'm much stronger now, just for the record.
Yeah.
So, she goes, do you all want to get dinner? It's only
great.
It's only 6 o'clock, and I'm getting the feeling he hasn't went to sleep yet, so...
I see. Are we done with patrol? Are we off for our shift?
Yes, our shift should be over, but we're going to be working overtime, so,
yeah.
This will look good on our work credits.
And as we get on our bikes to go to dinner, the wind is extra whippy around me, specifically. Super strong. Just my cape looks super majestic, and I look super intense.
It looks like it's about to rain, and then he just takes his hands off his bike, and he goes like this, and the clouds disappear.
Yeah. Sure.
So, you guys go over to a, let's see, what would be a
place that serves nice stew like Grandma makes, like Babushka makes.
Yeah.
Borscht.
Let's see. There is a... Man, I don't even know what Russian food is.
Borscht.
Is that a real...
Yeah.
I bet there's there's a lot of little Turkish kebab shops probably in Russia.
When you're saying beef stew, you're basically that's the borscht.
I wonder what yeah, sure, whatever. We go to a borscht track. Oh yeah, borscht soup. There it is. And Soledeka, which is a fish snack, and you get vodka with it, and salad and baked potatoes. So, it's pretty good. And then she like stops you in the like as you guys are finishing. Says, "We have to pay. Let's go."
Okay.
And
I throw down some Russian currency and
rubles.
we leave.
And you step outside, and she grabs hold of the two of your arms, and then you kind of feel your bodies like get light, and you like whisked up into the air like ghosts of Christmas past, and you zoom across the city, and then and out into the countryside. And then in a little like barn in the countryside, you see the man sleeping. You go into his head, and you pass through he's having a nightmare of getting beaten up in the soccer stadium by blasts of water just from every direction. And then you step out of the dream as you like kind of come up into a door, and she opens the door for you, and you step out, and then your bodies are in front of this guy. You guys are looking at him in his green and black silver suit.
Okay.
My mask comes undone. I'm like, I put my fingers up to my lips, and then I try and drain his powers.
Can we just beat him up though?
He'll just run again.
All right, you bend over and you snap into his throat, and he's not looking. He's not looking. He was not. He looked like he got pretty beat up earlier by getting blasted by high pressured water and falling from a 25-foot drop. So you bite into him. You need to make a psyche roll, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Benny's gonna prepare a full dropped ranks strength check to just slam him and throw him away if he looks like he's gonna lose control.
Okay. Yeah, psyche.
Oh, that's not
Psyche of incredible. So you need a yellow. So he kind of, you bite into him, making him bleed, but then he just you can't drain any powers from him, and he looks like he goes, and he reaches up and he touches his neck, and he starts to move.
Okay, then I just punch him to knock him out.
Yeah, Glafira goes like this and stun blasts him in the chest, and Vinny's like, got this fist up next to your head to reach his. And like, pew pew pew, like fire like 4 shots into him to take him out.
Yeah, sure.
Well, to the prison we go.
Has he broken out before?
You saw his powers firsthand.
They look at each other and they say, it was about, he was in prison for a little while last time. There was a breakout when they were transporting him to a rock salt mine in the Samara region.
It seemed like it would be very hard to keep to mining.
Well, I'm sure they would have power dampened him, or he's not very strong, to be honest. He's like, maybe can lift like 100 pounds, maybe. I mean,
Sure.
She raises up his arm, and he has like 0 muscle definition at all.
Yeah.
So I mean, even if he could cause hallucinations, it's, I don't think they're very specific either.
Yeah.
I think he specifies an emotion.
Gotcha. So why does he do this? Why did he start a riot? Is he just a madman?
Demetrius, what do you think?
I say I'm not criminal. Why would I understand them?
It's so funny that you said that having just murdered somebody.
But I did it within the bounds of the law, so.
What? No. Sorta.
What is the definition of crime if not breaking the law?
Yeah. And I guess if the law is the state.
And as Benny has those thoughts, as he just thinks back on his day, you guys walk slowly back into town over the next 2 hours, because
So that we can rack up the overtime.
no, well, mostly because she can't. She like pins, so she explains how her power works. She can like put a pin in somebody once she sees them, and then she can go into their dreams and either mess with them in their dreams, even like going as far as to kill somebody, which would hurt them in real life, or she can move through their dreams to bring people through it.
Gotcha.
But she has to pin them, and
Yeah.
so therefore, it's usually a one-way trip.
Yeah.
No motorcycles, but we commandeer a nice little Russian. What is the East German car that was really the Trabi? we get a Trabi and we just.
You do not, but you do force. Yeah, you commandeer it and then you force the driver to drive you back. But
We hitchhike.
Right.
Really uncomfortably, where he gives us a lift, and it's like a supervillain in the back seat.
Yeah. Well, you're all stuck in like a four-seater.
Yeah. Although Glafir and I could run alongside the car, I think.
Yeah, it's true. So, you make your way back. You guys get. He was pretty powerful, but we're gonna get 75 karma for that.
Okay.
Hey, I started with 59 karma. Is it okay if I just round it up to 60 so that I don't have to do all the
Yeah,
four
sure.
math
That's
until
fine.
the end of time?
That's fine.
Okay.
But don't you lose all the karma anyways because you killed somebody?
Technically, you should, yeah. But yeah, actually, you do.
I lose all my karma.
No, but we caught him after you killed the guy, so you still get the 65.
Yeah, you still get the 70. You're at 75 now.
Beautiful. I love it.
But yeah, I mean, you were not supposed to kill him. They are not too concerned about most of those guys because they're like homicidal maniacs for the most part.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the state isn't going to give them consequences, but we've had this debate and forever ago.
But yeah.
That the laws of the state are not.
Yeah. But it was not even the encouraged thing to do. Like it's honestly probably the illegal thing to do too. So there's like that's a goblin.
Yeah, it's just that guy was a cannibal, so nobody was sticking up for him.
Yeah.
I have a probably like a literal license to kill.
Back in the day.
But only while feeding, or in the act of duty.
So as you're riding back, as you guys are making your way back, you were waiting outside as Demetrius fills out the paperwork.
Do I get any extra karma for saving some civilians?
Oh yeah,
outside
you
of
get
my
50 for saving that football player.
Yay.
And then I'm going to give you both 25 more for showing up today.
Nice.
And then while you're standing outside, Glafira looks at you and she says, Comrade Gooden,
Yeah.
it's what I was trying to say before that did not come across so well is that many of us who have worked for the people
Yes.
do not have much of a choice. With the
Yes,
way
you-
things have been restructured, we are less free than even the common everyday citizens, and many of those are not able to leave their jobs or their home for fear of arrest.
Hang on. Switch to telepathic. We're having this conversation telepathically now.
You don't. She continues. She speaks to you telepathically. It is good to be cautious, but to be honest, you have very little to worry about. Now that they have you, it doesn't matter what you do. There won't be any escape. So.
How do they have?
You have.
Surely there are superheroes who.
They know where you are now. They know who you are, and they can find you whenever they desire.
Oh, is there a?
The party, the leadership of the party, many of them are. What you are from Latveria, right? So what you would call superheroes.
Yes.
In the true sense, unlike us, who are more like normal people with abilities.
Yes. But there are supervillains at large, so surely they are not omniscient. It's just you're saying that the systems of the Union are so rigorous that the party is so skillful at maintaining order.
Yes, I suppose. But it is more like if you try to go somewhere else as a member, you would look more like a defector. I don't know why I'm talking about this, but
what's the name of your cat?
Apple. Why?
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you, but Liz and Charlotte saw the cat.
Oh.
Nice.
So yeah, she says, and if they find that a officer of the law has defected, they will come for you. They will make it a point to do so.
Sure.
But that is how this system has grown and become what it is. The state, the people, the party has created what we have now based on choosing people for their aptitude. And as such,
surely if you had wanted to, with your, for example, your power sets, you would have made such an excellent therapist. I saw people in construction, like, psychologists, or something that you had wanted outside of the particulars.
She kind of looks at you kind of strangely a little bit, and she's like, "Psych. I don't know why I would want to be one of those, but I suppose most abilities such as ours are directed towards improving the material well-being of people, or into defending the Union."
I see. Well, thank you for saying all that. I really appreciate you being open with me, and I'm sure that will make us have a more effective partnership.
She nods and she says, "Yes. It's not so bad. Most of what you'll need will be provided for you, and there will be little in the way of you will lack little that you need." So
it seems like, except for perhaps variety. She's older than me?
Yeah. I'd say she's like 30.
Yeah. I could say, one of the reasons I left Bavaria was just seeking a change, seeking to learn about things other than what I had discovered, different ways of living.
Well, if you wish to move, then you may put into the office, or if you become active in the party, if you are high enough up, you could do whatever you wish. Or, I suppose, And she looks you up and down. I don't know if that is within your abilities, but if you were to become a member of one of the human teams.
Oh, I'm not nearly that ambitious.
Anyways,
So,
these positions are all assigned based on what they believe is for the good of everyone. And the rest of us must deal with our situation, even if it is not to our liking. And most, and I suppose even myself, believe that they are right. It is for the better of everyone. Everyone benefits from the system, but I do wish that it was not this way sometimes.
it's a powerful thing to admit.
She
Well,
leans back and like reaches into her pocket now that she's off and like smokes a cigarette and offers you one.
yeah. And he takes one, of course, because
Peer
cigarettes
pressure.
don't matter. For shift 125 regeneration.
Yep. You're Wolverine smoking cigars.
Mm-hmm.
And then you guys wait outside for Demetrius, who comes out and sees everybody there. Is there anything you want to say?
Good first day, rookie. You did all right. I hope you learned important things.
Yeah. Of course I did.
And then as you guys say that, there's a alert on the on the police radio that you guys are like, we'll just finish up turning everything in. That a creature, an irradiated lagoon, like snow, like a swamp creature, has arisen, seemingly about 75 feet ish tall, causing massive tidal waves, and coming down river towards towards Voronezh from the north, Lipsic, and that the area should be prepared to be evacuated. And you two are you all are like standing there looking at each other. Like she drops the cigarette on the ground and stomps on it, putting it out. And then some people run out from inside the place, and they're like, "Did you hear the report?" And you guys all, nod, and they're about to scramble into action. And you look up above, and you see flying up above, the heroic figure, crescent hammer chest over top. He slows down over top of it, and he's visible for just a second. And then behind him is another figure with a big red cape and an axe flying almost right behind him. And then behind them, levitating, is a group of other figures shooting forward up the river. And then everybody cheers, like, the Supreme Soviets!
Nice.
As I use my enhanced reflexes to catch the cigarette as it falls, and I smoke the rest of it and say, "They've got this." I'm going to my wife.
And that's where we'll end.
Yeah. I think at that point, Benny might literally skip town the next day. Do you know what I mean? I feel like there's a certain amount of time to get out before enough people know your name that you're like a blip in the system.
Yeah, that's probably your best bet, but...
Yeah. Just, do one superhero cop level thing. Just because his objective was to see what being a hero was like in the Soviet Union. And, whether it was right for him, right? So he learned, and I think he learned just enough.
Was it the dead cat prisoner?
Yeah, and the disillusioned partner. Like, yeah, I think he learned what he came here to learn, right?
Do you, Jacob? Do you want me sharing this guy's stats, or are you gonna use him?
No, yeah, tell it. I think if Benny wants to skip town next time, I think we can pick up,
Yeah.
leaving town, like in, on the train next time,
Yeah. Yeah.
There's the Google Doc of Smyatinya.
All right, and that's where we'll